Hello and welcome to It Doesn't Work That Way with me, Kalisha Zachery.
And me, Kachelle Zachery.
Hi, Kachelle.
Hi, Kalisha.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
Okay, so thank you for everyone that's listening. Today we have a very special guest on the podcast.
Yes.
Nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Cinematography for her work on Girl State, director and photographer, Laela Kilbourn.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello. Laela, I have to do you justice here. So Laela has been recognized as Best Feature Cinematographer for Swim Team and has filmed 8, y'all count them, 8 Sundance Film Festival premieres, such as DuPont Columbia Journalism Award winner This Is Home. Laela's work has appeared on FX, NBC, PBS, Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Epic, Amazon Studios, A&E, Nick Jr., History, and ESPN. Welcome to Dallas, Laela.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we're so glad that you're here. I'm so excited. Kachelle, can you tell our audience,
Yes.
share a little bit about how you connected with Laela?
Oh my gosh, Kalisha, thank you for giving me this opportunity to do so.
Yes.
I connected with Laela in a very kismet way, I believe. I have always desired to work with a female DP, and sometimes in a male-dominated industry, that's not always an easy thing to come across.
Yeah.
So I do want to recognize the rareness of you being a female cinematographer. That's not overly common, and so I tend to treat rare very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put my hat out there, I was like, I'm going to go big. I really want to work with well-established female cinematographers. And I didn't know who would maybe recognize us on this level.
Yeah.
Because we're growing.
That's fair. We are.
We're growing. And so I said, you know what? I got to put my name out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put your name out there, how would they even know I exist? So even if there weren't interested specifically in what we were doing or, you know, the type of work we were interested in doing, I was like, at bare minimum, they're going to know who I am.
If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Always.
Okay.
So I put an email out and introduced myself, the project I'm working on. I'm looking for a female cinematographer. And I was kind of like closing my eyes, like, you know, am I shooting too far up? And I just heard like this still calm voice was like, no, you don't know unless you try.
Mm-hmm.
And I got responses back and I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And the surprise was more because I felt like sometimes people want to attach themselves with individuals they feel like have arrived or are on a certain level, or if I'm going to attach my talent to this particular talent, I want to be able to check mark off like certain things. And I do understand that because we talk very deeply about being on brand.
Yes.
And so it was like, oh, is that on brand? You know, so we want to be on brand. And I was hoping that my version of being on brand would be something that another individual in the creative space could say yes. And I got responses back, but I cannot sit here and move this story any other way than the truth. It was something about your response back to me, Laela, that I felt it. I was like, I need to talk to her. Like I Zoomed with everyone, but I was like, you know, I was super excited about talking to Laela, and that feeling was confirmed when we got on that first Zoom. I was like, well, first of all, thank you for, you know, just seeing me. And then second of all, you know, what can I share about what we're doing and how we're doing it? Because I feel like being in this space and still trying to navigate it, I didn't want maybe not having enough credentials be a deterrence. Like they're too green. They're still trying to figure it out. And I could just really get up from this table and come across there and hug you, but I'm not because we're going to finish this podcast. But you were so gracious, and you were so kind. And you were just like, I see you. I like, and thank you for seeing me.
Well, thank you for seeing me. And I felt like the gratitude should go toward you both for reaching out to me and recognizing me for what I've done, and feeling like that was something that could contribute and bring something maybe special to this project, which is what I hope to do.
Yeah.
And I'm so appreciative that I am now in your orbit, and I hope I stay in it forever.
Yes, forever. And for those, who don't know, that may be new to the podcast or new to WATZS Production, aka the Zachery sisters, Laela has signed on to be the cinematographer for our second series called Percy Masterson.
Yes.
And so one of our production goals was to work with a dope cinematographer that's female, and we wrote that down once we finished our first project. That was on the whiteboard. The whiteboard is real. For those that are following the podcast, the whiteboard is real. Write the vision, make it plain. Correct?
Yep, absolutely. The It Doesn't Work That Way podcast offers an enlightening perspective into the experiences of both independent creatives and seasoned industry professionals across television, film, journalism, and beyond. Hosted by the wonderful Kalisha Zachery and myself, Kachelle Zachery, experts with extensive knowledge and valuable insights and engaging wit.
And so Kachelle, when she gets after something, it's like, you can't. Sometimes I'm like, girl, you probably want to take a nap, because she's on it and she won't stop. And so when she came across you and she was like, Kalisha, there's something different here. And I think, your work is beautiful. It speaks for itself. But, getting to know you over this time period, over this frame of time, has been so rewarding for us professionally and personally.
Yes.
That's why, we'll always be in the orbit. It'll always be in the orbit. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you for sharing that, Kachelle.
Thank you for allowing me.
I think it's important for people to take a risk, take a chance, but be ready. Don't call on people and you ain't ready. Okay, I have to put that out there. So, Laela, the name of our podcast is It Doesn't Work That Way. I don't know if we said that at the top.
I think you said it now. That counts.
I did. Okay. So that works. But we like to, have a topic, and, you have, I just got a question for you. Okay. You have, in addition to all the professional accomplishments I listed before, you have done some amazing things in television and film, documentaries. Like I said, you're nominated for an Emmy, which is a big deal. I'm sorry.
It is.
That's huge. Let's take a moment to give a shout out for that. Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel incredible about that. I didn't see it coming, and it's a real privilege. And I'm really grateful and excited to get to go to the awards ceremony and experience all of that. So, and I get to take my mom with me. So
that's so special.
It's going to be terrific. Yeah.
Tell me how this works. How did you get the notification? What was that like?
Well, I didn't actually, nobody notified me. I just looked it up. The day they announced, I looked up online where they list all the different honorees.
Yes.
And there we were. And I took me a minute to find it because it's kind of buried in the Emmys website, but I finally found it. And at first I was like, is this a mistake or is that my name? And yeah, that's your name. It's there. So it was pretty incredible. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. First call you made when you saw it?
My mom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for you. I know it's not televised. This portion is not televised, but or is it televised?
Well, it is. So they film it. It's not live.
Okay.
They film it. They make an edited version of the 2 nights of all what they call the Creative Arts Emmys, which is all the below the line people mostly. And then they broadcast it a week later on Saturday, September 14th on FXX, which sounds like it might be something you shouldn't watch. But apparently is something you should watch.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. September 14th.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
FXX.
That's it.
Okay. Because
Awesome.
I'm going to find it so I can watch it because I want to see it. And I'm so very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And the entire team. Girl State was absolutely amazing. On Apple TV. If you haven't signed up for Apple TV, sign up, watch it. It takes you on a beautiful journey. And I was hooked from the beginning to the end. And when I saw myself crying at the end, I felt like I was back in high school, trying to accomplish something. So it was just beautifully done. A very think piece, I would say, because I was thinking a lot and learned a lot Never heard of Girl State before until that documentary.
I would agree.
So great. So you have all of these notable achievements, and one of the questions that we like to ask is, do you believe you have arrived? Would you say, yes, I'm here. I've made it?
Or would you say, Zachery sisters, it doesn't work that way?
I would say, at least for me, it doesn't work that way. I'm not even sure how I would know if I've arrived. I mean, what does that mean? And I think it's different for everyone. And it's different for everyone at different moments in their lives. I mean, maybe you set a goal for yourself, and if you achieve that specific goal, well, in that moment, you probably have a new goal. So it's not like you ever end. And part of what I love about what I do, in filmmaking and in cinematography, is there's endlessly more things to learn. I don't feel like I have learned everything I need to know. I probably I don't think you can. There's too much. It's too complicated. It's too collaborative, and every collaboration yields new and interesting results. So, it's a path. It's a process. It's not there's no end point. There's no arrival point. You're on the journey for the duration, and I hope I continue on that journey.
Yeah.
I for a long time.
Answer. I love your answer.
I agree.
What I love most about it, like when people say, you've arrived. Me personally, I'm not trying to be cryptic. I think that's when you're finished.
Like you're leaving your body, your soul has transitioned from your body.
Correct.
Like
nothing else. Yeah. So for you to say it's a never ending journey, I truly believe that. Yeah. So that's my take on it.
I agree too. I think if you do what you love, you want, like we were talking about Ridley Scott earlier, and how, he's doing what he loves to do, and he'll probably do it until he either physically can't do it anymore, or he has left the planet. Yeah. And I feel like that's when you have arrived as well. And to be a forever learner, that's what me and Kachelle said. We don't know everything about this industry.
Do not.
There's rocks we have even yet to begin to uncover. And then with the innovation within our industry, with all the things that are changing, I think it's also important to stay on that path of like, okay, I haven't arrived. Goals, let's set some goals. You got something to.
I think that's a check mark.
Yeah, but not like I've arrived. I'm here. I've made it. It's like, you could work with some of the biggest, stars, or media houses in the world, and you still could. I still don't believe you fully have arrived. I feel like you got to just continue to give out what you need to give out on this earth.
I agree. Yeah.
Now, okay, so Denzel Washington had a interview where he was talking about working with Ridley Scott, and how he, Denzel's made some great films.
Come on now.
Okay, let's just stay there for a minute. Denzel has made some great films. Favorite Denzel film? Can you name it?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
For you, what is your favorite?
So for me, I think one of my favorite ones where I was like, okay, Denzel is like really going there. For me, that one was Malcolm X. And then he flipped it for me when he did Training Day. So like when I compare, like, and that's just
because you didn't even say Mo Better.
Blues. Yeah. I mean, he has so much. He has so much.
Could you say which is your top? Or did you say I just don't have one? I just
don't have one. That man is magic.
Okay, Laela, what about you?
Man on Fire.
Yes.
Yeah, directed by Ridley Scott's brother, Tony.
Yes.
I thank you for hipping me onto that, because I did not know that. Yeah, so just in the talent in the family.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, family.
Hi.
I love it. So mine, for me, it is Training Day. I mean, anybody that knows Kalisha's gonna know it's a Training Day, Officer Hoyt. That is my favorite movie of Mr. Washington. But he talked about, he's like, there's not many more films that I could see myself, making. And, he really wants to be inspired by, a filmmaker. So Laela, I wanted to ask you, as you're on your journey, you haven't arrived yet. You're like, I'm still on this journey. I got ways to go. Who is inspiring you? Like, what in the industry, who's inspiring you today from a cinematography standpoint, or acting, or directing?
I mean, I get inspired by almost every film I see, because there's always something in it that I can take away from that film and be like, I would like to make something that looks like that, or that influences what I'm going to do. I don't have one person that I'm devoted to, but I feel like, many directors, cinematographers have done something or other that touches me or appeals to me. I will say that, going back a long time, the movie that inspired me the most, and it was very early that I saw it, was a movie called Nil by Mouth, which is, I believe, the only movie that the actor Gary Oldman ever directed. And it came out in the 90s, and it's a beautiful film. It's a harrowing film. It's about a sort of dysfunctional family in London going through some traumatic experiences. But the way it's shot it's both very intimate and sort of distantly shot at the same time, a little long lens work. It feels very almost improvised, but I actually talked to the DP who shot it, Ron Fortunato, once, and he said nothing was improvised. It was all very planned, very choreographed. Nothing was of the moment. It was all, they knew what they were doing going into it, but it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And both as a cinematographer who does narrative and documentary, that's kind of what I want to achieve. Things that feel like you're there in that moment and it's intimate and it's spur of the moment, but actually it isn't. And the work that has to go in to make that feeling happen is, what interests me.
Yeah.
So I try to find those moments in any film that I watch. Like, what are the moments that are intimate and improvisational feeling, but yet probably are completely planned and organized.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do too.
Kachelle, what's inspiring you?
Ooh.
Oh, here we go.
So I am an inspiration junkie. It's like shooting up. No pun intended. It's like inspiration does something for me.
Okay. We're going to use another. We're going to use another. I'm going to pause and we're going to edit that out. Thank you for listening. It Doesn't Work That Way podcast is sponsored by the WATZS Announcer. The WATZS Announcer is a media brand that covers the amazing emerging talents in the entertainment industry, including movies, TV, and more. The inaugural episode features the cast of Frame of Reference, hosted by Amanda Gaddison. The exclusive interview will be available only on the WATZS Prod YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for notifications. Go ahead. What is it like, the inspiration?
If I'm getting high on inspiration, how is that hurting you, me, or anyone else?
That's off brand. I don't like shooting up.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I get highly inspired. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay. So I get really highly inspired. And these days, I am just super, super geeked about Spike Lee.
Wow. Okay.
Cannot wait for the new Spike Lee and Denzel film to drop under A24.
Oh, wow. Okay. Enough said.
Okay.
Right there.
Yes. And I think mostly that inspiration for me is because he's so socially conscious. And sometimes I feel like we live in a world where that's kind of like, here she come again. Here she come again.
With her picket sign.
And so he really makes me feel seen in the way that, you can do this art form and you can send a message. And I just feel like life is too short not to inspire for us to be the most beautiful versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things that I want to see on this side. Like I want to see it on this side. I want to see like what real unity looks like on this side. I want to see it in my lifetime.
I think
even if it's just a little spark. Yes.
So, because some people would say Spike Lee has arrived.
Okay.
Some people would say like I've arrived. I mean, it's Spike Lee and he's still making films with Denzel. Wow.
Yes, this is their 5th project.
Okay, they like working together.
Yes,
they collaborate well.
Yes.
They collaborate well.
Yes.
So I'm happy about that. But some people would say that, Mr. Spike Lee has arrived and he's still out there working. Why do y'all think people have that some people have that thought where clearly we're saying it doesn't work that way. I don't believe it works that way. They may believe it works that way. I just don't believe that it works that way. But why do you think people have that maybe I have arrived moment?
I think it's a misconception.
Okay.
I think we generalize way too much. I think that it's kind of gets tricky if I think what I want is what you, Laela, and everybody in this room wants.
That's a good point.
And I think we really need to do a better job of emphasizing this is what I would categorize as my arrival, right? And not assume that that's anyone else's, or assume that they view arriving the same way. You know what I'm saying? And so I think just to hear our own versions of what that looked like I appreciate you. Like, this is a journey.
Yeah.
You know, I am learning. And then I think sometimes we misconstrued success with arrival.
Okay.
I think sometimes people don't know how to separate the two. Like, oh, I successfully completed a project and I gained awards for that. And that's something I was obtaining or wanting to do. That's a success for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily means that someone is looking at that like, oh, I've arrived. I don't have to do anything else. This is going to carry me on to the end of my days. And, you know, I'm good from here. It's an interesting point of view.
It's a comparative point of view too. It's saying it's placing yourself in context with this other person and whatever they've achieved or whatever they've succeeded at or not.
Yeah.
And rather than looking at yourself within your own framework, you're saying, I'm next to this person or this person next to me has arrived versus what I'm doing, as opposed to just saying what I'm doing is what I'm doing. And these are my goals and have I achieved them or not?
Yeah.
And in the same way, that person that you're looking at is probably saying that to themselves.
Right.
These are my goals. Have I achieved them? What's my next goal? But whenever you place yourself in that kind of comparative and almost competitive context, someone's going to be up and someone's down. And how does that help your own journey? It doesn't really.
Right.
It really doesn't.
And I also see how people can get it misconstrued. Like, I'm glad that you posed the question to Laela. Like, okay, you're a part of this very important ceremony. Your work has been recognized. Yes. You're on Apple TV. You're going to the Emmy ceremony. You know, most people would be like, oh, she's arrived. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate hearing Laela say, no. It's still too much about the camera I haven't even discovered yet. You know, it's too much about the journey that I haven't even touched yet. And I think that level of transparency we don't often get fed the most. We usually get fed the hype and, you know, sometimes the rhetoric, you know what I'm saying? And it builds, to me, unhealthy views of what it really takes to go after something.
To me, it misconstrues love of what we do.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, you love what you do. I can see it. I feel it. You know, you love what we do. I love to produce. I love to get out here and see what we can do, what we can make. I love to think about things from an operational standpoint. I mean, Kachelle, like you said, you love inspiration and you're a writer and you're a director and you love art and you're like, I could do this forever.
Ever.
So, but, you know, knowing where Kachelle started, like you didn't start out saying, hey, I want to be a writer. How did you discover the camera?
Ooh, that's good.
I did not start out saying I wanted to be a cinematographer.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about filmmaking. I came upon it. Well, I did some still photography in school and I enjoyed that, but it was not ever quite enough. And I did a lot of writing as a kid and later. And I kind of put those two things together, writing and photography, in my head and thought, well, that's kind of what film is, isn't it? And I thought originally I wanted to be an editor because you're putting the story together, which is what interested me the most. But I didn't know anything about what filmmaking involved, the process, how you do it. And once I learned that was when I realized I didn't want to sit in a room looking at a screen all day. I wanted to be on set with the camera, making the image happen. And that's when I started going down that path.
Yeah, I always believe it's the thing that leads to the thing. Yeah, sometimes not. Now, I do highly admire when I hear people was like, I knew at 2 years old. I'm like, at 2?
Yeah.
You knew? And I no shade. I'm like, that is amazingly dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I hear people that's like, I know what I was born to do. This was what I, was born to do. I admire that on such a high level. And then I respect people that discover.
Yeah.
Yeah. They like, okay, didn't start necessarily start off that way, but I discovered that this was in me. And even with my own writing, even when I remember coming home from school and the teachers would write my mom like interesting notes on my writing. They'd be like, your daughter is her imagination is just really, really out here. And at the time, I thought that I was being kind of semi-discouraged. I was like, is it like, are you saying that that I'm
shouldn't write?
It shouldn't write, because my imagination is as wild as it is. And I put it away. I put it away. I was like, well, maybe that's not, what I'm supposed to be doing. And then it would just keep coming back. And it would just keep coming back. And it would just keep coming back. So even if you don't fully know, I think that life has a beautiful way of putting it in before you. I feel like those are clues. But the most significant part of it, I feel like, and this is just me just being very overly just speaking from my own personal experience. Yeah. I believe that the gifts are put on the inside of us so we never lose them.
I think that's a key.
Yes, it is a key.
We drop keys every episode.
We do.
I think that's a key.
It's always on the inside. You don't never have to look out. You got to look in. Yeah. And that's where you're going to tap in. And so when I got the courage to be like, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be at. And I started writing, and here we are. Here we are. Yeah. So
not what everybody was doing, but you was like, this is what I want to do, to explore that, because fads and trends can come, and everybody's like, oh, you're doing that, I want to do that. But to really kind of figure out like what's your passion, and then discover that and say, you know what, I want to be in the camera. So from that discovery, what was the next step? You were like, I want to be out in the field. I want to do this way. And as a cinematographer, what was the next step for you after that?
So I needed a job.
Amen.
Yeah. So I started working in the camera department as a camera assistant. I moved to New York and I started working there. And the first thing I did, this was, I don't know if this could be replicated now, but at the time it was possible. I got the list of all the union camera assistants in New York.
Come on.
And I started cold calling people and saying, hi, I'm here. I have a little bit of experience, and outline my experience. And I'd be happy to work for you for a day, maybe for free the first day, but then, show you that I can do it. Yeah. And then maybe we can go from there. And I would send out resumes to people who said, yes, send me your resume. And this was all snail mail. I mean, this was a while ago.
Yes.
So it wasn't email. There was no such thing. But finally, one person said to me, yes, send me your resume. And then they had a short film they were doing a few weeks later. And they called me up and said, I need an assistant. Would you be interested in this? Yeah. And I was like, would I be interested?
Yes.
Of course. And that was how it started. And it just kind of rolled from there. And I did job after job. And every job you're trying to prove yourself on and establish yourself for the next one.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you had a plan. You were like, I'm sending it's kind of like Kismet again. I mean, I'm in the email generation, but yeah, just like I was like, I'm putting my name out there, and it only takes one.
That's right.
Yep.
One person.
Yep.
It just takes one.
And you got to put yourself out there. You do. And now I think it's more accessible, right? Before you had to get the list. Do you
remember newspapers? And
I seen a classified ads. Yeah.
Remember yesterday we saw a phone.
No. It wasn't no Indeed.
No, ma'am.
It was a newspaper.
It was ads.
And see like who is
job listing.
I remember that.
Yeah, we are of that generation.
Yes, we are.
So now with more technology, your email is not going to go through snail mail. You can get the email now. You have Chat GPT to help you write it if you need it.
Come on.
Right? There's truly like no excuse, I think, when you think about trying to discover that's what you want to do. But you reached out after you kind of knew. You was like, this is what I want to do. I want to get with these union folks because they're union for a reason.
Yes.
I'll say that again. They're union for a reason, and you can learn so many great things. There's so much knowledge on there, just being a sponge and kind of soaking it up. Like, what do I not know and what do I know? So I think that's, I appreciate you giving that context for the audience, because some people, they see us and they'll say, how are you guys doing this? And sometimes we're just like, you just got to get out there and you got to do it. Nobody's ringing the doorbell. Sony is not ringing the doorbell at my house. If they want the address, I'll give it to them. You know what I mean? You got to go out there regardless if nobody believes in what.
Here we go. Nobody believed.
Until I believed me.
You got to believe yourself first. Then you believe yourself.
Shout out to Common.
Facts.
Finding Forever. Great. They're going musical reference. We do musical references on the podcast.
If you're looking for a good listen, you can play from beginning to end, no skips. I would recommend Common, Finding Forever.
No one believed until I believed me. And then saying that, and then what you said about going out there and proving yourself.
Yes.
I think it's twofold too. You got to prove yourself in the right environment.
Ooh.
And you also need to improve yourself.
Ooh,
can
you repeat that?
You have to prove yourself in the right environment. So being on that set, letting them know I'm not here to play. I want to learn. I'm a great person to work with. And then improving yourself, studying, watching the films and seeing how did they do this technically? Because what Laela does is a science.
It is. Thank you for saying that.
Well, it's a craft, and you learn it by doing it, and by doing it with people who know more than you and are teaching you as you do it. I mean, that's what this apprenticeship process of working your way up is.
Yes.
It's learning all the time from people who are very skilled and have a lot of knowledge to impart. Mm-hmm. And you learn, many people, myself included, learn best by doing it. Mm-hmm. And you do it over and over again until it becomes familiar, and then you move on to the next thing. But you need people around you who are passing that information on. Mm-hmm. And then the art of it and the science of it and the craft of it all come together to make a movie.
People need people. You cannot do nothing great alone.
Say that again.
You cannot do nothing great alone.
It's just impossible.
It really is.
And the structure wasn't meant for you to do it alone.
No.
I believe the original intent was for us to really be in harmony with each other and just make the world a better place.
Be a kind human.
Yeah. I like that.
Be a kind human. Laela, I so appreciate you being in Dallas. I know we had a jam-packed week. We're like in the middle of it, working on our second series, and we, been deep in scouting.
Yes. And
having a great time. Yes. And, just to know you and your presence, and even on our Zooms, and how efficient you are, and willing to share your knowledge with Kachelle and I, and helping us to open up our eyes to different lenses, and sending us clips of things, and taking a look at this, and just taking us on a journey to become better showrunners and producers and directors. And it's so I just want to thank you. Just true gratitude. Thank you for taking the time out to do our podcast today.
Yes.
And just how you are, your presence is making us better.
I would totally agree. Every chance I get to talk to you, to communicate with you, I feel like, I'm about to grow. Mm-hmm. I'm about to learn something I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I cherish a lot. Everyone is not as forthcoming as we think they are. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people you find out on your own, So I appreciate your willingness to be like, I'm always asking questions like, what does this mean? And, why did you take out that and do this? And you're never like, can she stop with all the questions? You're just like, you're just always giving. Mm-hmm. And I just, I appreciate you giving that knowledge, and so, yeah, I'm excited for what we're going to do.
I'm totally excited. You guys stay tuned. Percy Masterson is going to be fire. And I'm excited to go on the journey. I'm so excited to get on set and just see. I can feel the synergy already, and I just know it's going to be electric, and we're going to do some amazing things. Godspeed at the Emmys that is coming up. I'm so excited just to, I'll be waiting to watch it so I can see it. And I know you're going to have a great time with your mom, and Girl State is amazing. It really, really is. It truly is. It was a beautiful shot, project. Yeah.
I'm just excited overall. I get geeked when I'm with people that are in their element. Mm-hmm. It does something for me. It's a euphoric for me when I get to see people like just be talented at what they do, and I get to witness that. Like, it does something for me. So I won't use phrases like I'll refrain from using like getting high and
come on, you're a writer. There's a better word.
I just felt like it was appropriate. If I'm gonna shoot up, I would shoot up inspiration. I just thought it worked.
And with that, thank you for listening to It Doesn't Work That Way. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, Laela. Thank you, Kachelle.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yes.
Bye.